One.
Welcome back, listeners, to our Cyber GPT Pulse podcast. This is your go-to place for staying updated on everything related to cybersecurity. So I'm your host, Muhammad Ilyas Ahmed.
I'm your co-host Amiruddin Sayyed.
Well, today we are diving into the crucial part of cybersecurity called vulnerability management. So we are going to discuss the recent events concerning GitHub, Perl, Lipcurl situation, and the staggering cases of 270 and more than 270 Python libraries leading to significant breaches. So let's jump right in concerning what Python vulnerabilities are and how you can take them forward with the valid checks. So before any discovering the vulnerabilities, the basic step you have to do is what version you are running on, what version the libraries are exposed to. So by keeping that in mind, probably you need to start with having the Python's popularity, like what versions you have more bugs and vulnerabilities being found, and with increased usage, what issues you are facing it with the Python, because nowadays the bugs and poor coding practices are giving rise to the Python supply chain attacks. So you may find attributes to the malicious actors. So start with the secured Python dev environment first. So that's the best practice, to start with the securing the environment. So you can create an environment which contains versions which has stable Python, which require packages to step up wherever possible. So with that, if the latest version is minor release, then you should be fine. Then if it's a major release, then that's whole a different story. And you need to have a higher chances. There might be higher chances of severe bugs, and vulnerabilities will be unknown. So for that reason, uh, some organizations prefer to wait adopting it with the recent versions. So you should be aware to have a mutually trade off, getting potentially improved security and features from the newest versions. So when it comes to packages, the best practice is to sign components from the source you're getting. Make sure it's a legitimate source. So installing from the public repository can have a risky behavior, since they are pre-built but not unsigned, meaning there might be a contained compromised code. So in any case, always make sure to ensure you download external code from secure links. Even there are possibility, it's also safer to choose frequently updated packages, which are bug fixes. It's likely you have a project that will be exposed to vulnerabilities for a longer period of time. Of course, we know there are few things which can be implemented to for the best practices for a workaround. How often you upgrade the packages, but consider it have a policy workaround which willing to wait for a new version for patching it. When I speak of patching, I meant to say considering to deploy a virtual patch if you need to use an older version of a package. So, and as a deployment progress, make sure you remove the older packages and files that you don't use them anymore in your environment. And the next step I would go with assessing the severity of known vulnerabilities. So, like you might be aware of CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, which is either you have to rate it like it's a low score, a medium score, high, or a critical score based upon the scaling. But vulnerability that are scored that same don't pose the same threat, but you should understand which type of vulnerability you're facing it. To figure that out, how badly your project is affected, you need to investigate each vulnerability individually instead of making a judgment based upon the numbers. So don't judge based on the numbers you have with the CVSS scoring system. So use the package heavily, like for example, there's a TensorFlow, which tend to have a high vulnerability count because they're employed in numerous use cases these days. So by a lot of users who notice and report problems quickly. So there are a few takeaways for substituting less popular packages in the CV count. And also you can have tooling to manage your Python vulnerabilities. Let's say you have, for example, your organization stay abreast of emerging threats by providing warnings as well as the upgrade options. So typically, make sure you notify the reported vulnerabilities on platform like CV Details or NVD, National Vulnerability Database, so you can understand better whether package or upgrade version exists to resolve the threat. But none of these tools provide the ability to remediate the vulnerability. To keep that in mind, so you have to rebuild your environment and test it and redeploy it and then across the organization. But the most important thing to note here is like it helps you quickly and remediate easily and automatically rebuild a secure version of environment in minutes. But you can then update each affected environment across dev and test your CI/CD pipeline with a single command. To automate the vulnerabilities remediation to stay secure without giving up your the space, I would say as more malicious actors target non-protection environments, developers must learn to keep their development environment secure. But again, this is not automating vulnerability remediation. So this is all the production cost would be just too high again. So luckily, if you have easy solutions you can employ to keep your project secure, well and good. If not, then work with the latest touch versions Python packages, and then understand the vulnerability in your runtime environment, and then use package management to rebuild, redeploy, secure your runtime to your dev and CI/CD environments. So yeah, this was about like quickly short how you can manage the vulnerabilities.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good information there, Elias. And basically, any organization will have to do all these steps. If any malicious package or CV has been found, I will just add a couple of steps, a couple of suggestions there. Or although it's sometimes it's very trivial to have the asset or the information of the application running with the various with which version of library, but in many of the organization it's not that trivial. They don't have the AppSec visibility, and in those organizations this initial preliminary investigation is much more difficult. Specifically, I've seen this in many supply chain organizations which doesn't even have a mature SBOM. So the first step to get the product owners as well as the devs to get on board of this like in this case malicious Python packages which has been identified. So these malicious packages need to be first of all informed to them, and then the next steps, as you have already covered, will be taken forward. So this is one case which is in this case it's more about how as we don't have the patch or the solution with us, so it's not about the patch management. It's almost more about how you can identify the exposure to the packages in your environment. But the second thing which second news happened in the same month, interestingly, was regarding the GitHub curl and libcurl new release. So these are not new CVs. These are two fairly known CVs from past 1 and 2 years. As for the curl, it is a high vulnerability, and the libcurl one is a low vulnerability. So the curl is so as there have been many security researchers focused on this one. They for the curl there is exploit UC available which shows how to use SOC 5 to proxy into any given URL, and based on that you can just provide extra knobs values and then get buffer overflow. So that's exploit available which can be tested around. So it was a very severe vulnerability, which is, and for libcurl it's just a cookie injection one, which is very restrictive, uh, only affect for a certain memory size. There is a higher memory size than specifically 65536, then only it affect a particular application. But for these two, a new curl release was announced on, I think it was 11th of October, when finally GitHub has released curl 8.4.0, which patch these two vulnerabilities. And so if I'm sure that there will be audience who doesn't know about curl, so just a bit of information about curl is a command line tool which is used to transfer data from to and from server, and libcurl is free client based URL transfer library. So these are very omnipresent across the tech stack, useful for security as well as for developers in our Linux environment. And this critical CV was impacting these two. So as per the asset or the attack surface of it was huge. So even though many of the developer is not running it actively, but it's by default stored installed in the container or the Linux environment. And if you are dealing with the IoT environment, it's can be huge. In any application, it can be having 10,000 of these instances being installed in various IoTs, and it can be a huge problem even to get onto the attacks exposure of it. So this is a very good patch finally available. So this will be having the similar step, but there is one difference from the vulnerability management procedure, which we already discussed. In patch management, it's more of understanding. It's more focused on finding the critical asset which is affecting, and this takes a longer step. Once you have finally identify the attacks exposure, then only you can move forward to give the patch as well as the critical command line for specific across the spectrum of the asset available there to various product owner in any organization. So that's what is being done. So I know for sure many of the bigger organizations were already to be prepared with a mature patch management, and they were able to release the update of their system immediately, and it was fixed with the mandatory release of update. But with various supply chain organization which has this um, uh, can be say small security team, it's very difficult to do such a patch management. So in that sense, although patch is available, you have to still work on your vulnerability management, because as the patch is available and is a huge cry, so there will be more advertisement of this CV. Maybe your environment will be tested by various actors to get into, because they know that this is a VCV which has been finally patched. So let's run our all our powerful tools or scripts available on this exploit and get whatever we can before it is been patched. So that's why this is one of the critical patch which need to be work around by every organization.
Well, that was a great insights you have given from the curl and lip curl perspective. So, as you know, we have there are a few remediation now that the curl 8.4.0 is available in the market. So there are some immediate actions which are recommended from the user's perspective. So first, I would go and check your container and packages ahead time to check for exposures, and then you can identify if the host and the curl install and determine how it was installed and where it was installed, and upgrade your curl versions to 8.4.0. That's the latest version we have available, and then make sure you apply the patch to your local versions, and we will point you to the page where you can download the latest version from the Git in our checkbox in the comment section. Uh, Probably if you want any help from the way you want to download and what else you're running on, then feel free to comment out and we will provide you with the details as well. So the release of curl 8.0 is a testament to the open source community commitment of cybersecurity as of now. So by responding promptly and transparently to identified vulnerabilities, to the curl team continues to uphold the security and reliability of the countless applications worldwide. So all you have to, all the every organization user they have to do is they prioritize this update to safeguard their systems and against the potential exploitation as of now. So here we come to end for this episode. So buckle up as we embark on a journey through the cyber team. Probably we uncover the threats and opportunities that lie ahead. So don't forget to subscribe, because the Cyber GPT Pulse podcast channel amplifies your cybersecurity knowledge. So well, that's all. Thanks for watching this episode, and the contact information is in the show notes. If you have any questions, comments, or topic that you want us to discuss in the future, feel free to email us. Until next time, stay safe and secure.